Hi again and welcome to our new discussion here in JED 3, that's Mathematics in the Modern World. So since we are already done with our lesson 1, this time around let us discuss the lesson 2. So what is the lesson 2 for this module, second module? Well, this is about stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. So first and foremost, what is stocks and bonds? So one stable way to invest money is to buy stocks and bonds. So this stocks and bonds is actually an investment for entrepreneurs like you. So buying these investments is like waiting for swan seeds to blossom into trees and bear fruits. So mura lang mo ani o nagtanom tapos nagpaabot mo sa kung kano sa mo mag-harvest. So that particular harvest that you have made, that is your income from your investment. So that is stocks and bonds. Now let us discuss more or further about stocks and bonds. So now let us have here the asset, equity, debt, and security. So to be able to operate, a business must have an asset. And in business, a company's asset is composed of equity and debt. So when we say business, dapat daw sa business is naagid na siya asset. And this asset is composed of equity and debt. Now, let us discuss further what is this equity and debt. So the economic form of debt and equity is called security. So the security in the form of debt is called a bond, and the security in the form of equity is stock. So meaning, when we say the security in the form of debt or utang, that is called bonds or bond. Now, when we say equity, a form of equity na kanang dili siya utang, that is stock. Understand the difference between the equity and the the equity and the debt. So when we say debt or utang, that is bonds, and when we say equity, that is stock. Okay? Next, we also have here shares. So equity is a part of the company being sold to investors. So most of the time, a company's stock runs in millions or billions. So to make the buying of stocks convenient, a company's stocks is divided or subdivided into smaller equal parts. So these subdivision are called shares. So since as what I've told you earlier, ang equity man good is kuan siya kanang like dako lang siya or major siya. It is composed of millions or billions of stocks. Now for a company or a business or a company to make sure na kanang makakuha siya og daghang investor, ang iyahang ginahimo is gina-subdivide niya ang ilahang mga stocks. And that particular subdivision is also called shares. So mo na ginaingon na sa mahilig magtanaw og mga Korean novelas or even bisan mga Philippine dramas, di ba na mga share 100% daw ang share ni Talpulano or 50% ang share ni Talpulana or 15% ang share ani niya. So that is what we called share. Ang mga company stocks nga gi-subdivided into smaller equal parts. So mostly kasagaran dyan makakuha sa katong dako na parts sa share is ang CEO or ang owner sa company. So now this is this picture here, as you can see, this is stock certificate. So this is an example of stock certificate. So what is stock certificate, by the way? So once a share is purchased by an investor, he receives what we call stock certificate from the company. So this is actually a proof that the investor purchases a certain percentage of the stock. So the investor purchases a certain percentage of the stock. Now, like for example, example sa aning certificate ngayon yung nakita karon diri asa akong background. So as you can see here, ang nadiri is Kelet Autogero Corporation. So mao na siya ang katong particular na kanang company nga imuhang gi-investan. Now, example, ang nag-invest is ako, ibutantang ako na lang. So, this is to certify that Irish Tan purchases, kung pila ka percentage mo ang purchase na stocks or share, then that would be the information nga makita nimo sa imuhang certificate. So, mo na siya. Example na siya, ha? Okay? So, next is a shareholder. So, kung gani ang atong gisgutan, ang share mismo o ang kadtong stock, kanang certificate. Now, unsa man po ning shareholder? Of course, understandable naman siguro kayo, no? A shareholder is the person who is entitled to have a share in the profit of the company depending on how many shares he purchased, or this share is called dividend. So, katuning investor. So, example, ako tong nag-purchase sa kanang shares sa isang company. Example lang na to, ang company is San Miguel Corporation. Tapos nag-purchase ko shares sa San Miguel Corporation. In that particular corporation, kay nagpalit man ko shares sa ila. So, I am already called a shareholder. Tapos mo to makadawat ako og certificate. And then, kung unsa ang profit nga makuha sa San Miguel is makakuha ko og profit dito. And that particular profit is called dividend. Now, for example, if a company sold 1 million shares and a particular investor was able to buy 1,000 shares, then he is entitled to get 1,000 over 1 million, or that's 1 over 1,000 of the company's profit as dividend. So, inaniyon pagkuha ang imuhang dividend if ever nga mahimo kang shareholder. Now, the same with my example ganiha. So, like for example, ako naka-purchase ko sa San Miguel Corporation of 1,000 shares. Meaning, kung na sila 1 million ka shares nga gibaligya, ang 1,000 nato isa kong gipalit. So, if ever nga na sila income, para may balaan ako, pila po ang ako ang profit, is i-divide lang na ako ang gikuha nga investment na 1,000 into kung pila tanan ang total sa ilang shares nga gikuha. So, that is 1,000 over 1 million or divided by 1 million. So, kung pila ang lusot ato niya, mauto ang ako ang profit. Okay? Next is the debt. Ganihan, nagisgot na taon sa nisyang debt. Now, aside from the equity nga atong gisgutan kaganiha or the share, naatay debt pod sa company. So, dili lang pobre ang naiutang, ha, pati dato naiutang. So, when we say debt, other than equity, debt is another part of a company's asset. So, a debt is a result of borrowing money from investors. So, when we actually kanang mag-start up ta og company, dili nagpasabot na naga-invest ka dira og kwarta na kanang imo-imo lang jud. So, sometimes there are companies nga bago sila natukod is naapod sila gipangbaligya na mga naapod sila yung mga utang na gigamit para ma-pundar na siya na company. So, that is called debt. Now, this debt is another part of the company's asset. So, meaning asset lang gihapon na niya ang debt. Now, what is debt again? It is a result of borrowing money from investors. So, instead nga nagbaligya ka o ganang share sa imong company, ang gibuhat nimo is na ngutang ka or nagborrow kag money in that particular investor. So, another one here, this is called bondholder. So, katong bondholder mo, ito ang nagpautang sa imo, ha. So, when a debt is lent by a lender, that lender becomes a bondholder. And it is entitled to receive interest from the company. So, good thing about a bondholder, mga good guys, is that if ever in kaso, ang business or ang company is mabankrupt, automatically, ang remaining assets nila is hati-hation para mabayaran ang tanang kautangan. Meaning, secured, makakuha gid sila sa ilahang gihatag na kwarta. compared to a shareholder. So that is called bondholder. So this is what we call bond coupon. So kana naadra sa picture mo na siya ang bond coupon. Alright, so again, a bond coupon is the same with stocks gihapon. Katong sa pareho ka ganyan sa shareholder nga makadawat sila certificate or stock certificate, kani pod ang bondholder makadawat pod sila og gitawag nato na bond coupons. So a company's bond is large enough sometimes that cannot be financed by a single lender. So kung example, dako gud ang kapital nga kinahanglan nimo to kanang start up a business, sometimes dili siya kaya saguton sa isa lang ka tao or sa isa lang pud ka company, so dili siya kaya niya. So ang mahitabo, if you are an investor, I mean if you are the owner of that company, ang imong buhaton na lang is mag-borrow money. Now since dili siya kaya sa isa ka tao, so ang imong buhaton is imuhang i-divide na pod, the same with the stocks earlier, I mean sa kanang share kaganihan na imo siyang i-divide into small pieces or smaller amount para nga makaya siya sa lender. Now, like for example, so usually a company's bond amounts to as large as 100 million. So di ba dako kayo siya? So since it is 100 million or more, medyo bugat siya sa isa ka lender. So a company divide this bond into smaller parts which are called bond coupons. So the divided amount is the face value of a bond coupon. So the company that issues bond coupons are called the issuer. So katong naghatag sa bond coupons, mo to siya ang issuer. Ang makadawat sa bond coupon, mo to siya ang bondholder. Okay? So what is par value? So when we say par value, ako na siya i-discuss on the latter part. So the investor who purchased the bond will receive a bond coupon from the company. Bond coupon is basically a sheet of paper that contains the face value. So that is the principal amount or ang amount nga gikuha or gi-borrow sa katong company. Now the rate of interest and the maturity date of it will also be listed in the bond coupon. So the amount used to buy a bond coupon is called the par value. So the interests are computed and paid usually every year, and that at maturity date all loans are needed to be paid. So meaning kaning par value is mo ni siya tong amount nga gigamit nimo to buy a coupon. And then the interest of that particular amount nga imong gikuha will be computed, and that will be your payment every year since this is annually until the maturity date or until the due date nga kana mahuman na gyud ang imong payment sa katong imong gi-borrow na amount. So that's par value. Now, let's discuss the bond market and stock market. So what is the difference between these two markets? So when we say bond market, again, gidiscuss naman nato kaganiha kung unsa si bond o unsa si stock. So bond market and stock market are somewhat similar since they are both market, but they are different when it comes to unsa ang ilang gipang baligya. So again, the difference between bond market and stock market is the in bond market, ang ilang ginabaligya are bonds. Meaning, dito gina-issue ang bonds, dito nag-trading o kanang debt securities, so dito to siya tanan. While on the other hand, si stock market, isang iyang gina-trade or gina-issue dito is ang stock or ang equity. So, it is the environment where issuance and trading of equity securities both occurs. So, meaning, kung sa pikas sa bond is utang, sa stock market kay mga stocks or shares. So in bond market, actually here in the Philippines or the Philippine domestic bond market is consists of short and long-term bonds. So these are mainly issued by the national government. So the Philippine bond market is dominated mainly by treasury notes and bonds. So here in the Philippines, napod tayo ka ng ginatawag na bond market. And this particular bond market is dominated mainly by our treasury notes and bonds. And this is issued by the national government. So, if you are an investor, where should you actually invest? Is it in bonds or in stocks? So, stocks given bigger yields but are riskier. So, di ba, pag investor ka or pag ka ng entrepreneur ka, mindset nimo is kanang income man jud syempre. Now, kung ikaw ang klase sa investor na kanang mahilig og risk or riskier, then you can actually invest in stocks. Kay mas dako siya og income. But in bonds manggod, smaller ang interest na makuha nimo, but they are more stable. Meaning, kung mahilig ka musugal dito ka sa stocks, pero kung dili ka mahilig magsugal, playing safe ka sa bonds ka. Because again, if you are a sure better, then invest in bonds. At the end of the day, an investor must study all the factors before investing in stocks or bonds. Kay, the same with what I have told you earlier, pag mayngan magog kag stocks, if ever, for example, ang companies mo bankrupt, ang unang-una niya nga bayaran is ang mga bonds or ang mga bondholder. So, mauna siya, ginatawag siya nga kanang stable. Kay mabayaran man gid sila. Compared to stocks na kung wala, kay bankrupt man, so, bye-bye. Ana siya. Ha? So, what if a company declares bankruptcy? What will happen to your stocks or bonds? Just like what I've told you earlier, when inevitable bankruptcy happens, all the remaining assets will be shared to pay off debts from bondholders. And then this usually leaves nothing to the shareholders. However, adventurous investors would prefer bigger gains from bigger risks. So again, kung investor ka nga playing safe, bond ang imuhang dapat investan. But if you wanted bigger gains, then go to stocks or share. So, mahimo kang shareholder. So, we are already done with stocks and bonds. Now, let us proceed with the mutual funds. Unsa dining mutual funds? So, when we say mutual funds, it is a form of investment. So, investment yapon siya. So, tulo na ang investment stocks, bonds, and mutual fund. So, it is also the same with the two things that we have already discussed. So mutual fund is also an investment, and this is funded by the money collected from different investors. So the money collected are invested in securities such as stocks and bonds. To ensure the efficiency in managing the money invested, a mutual fund is operated by professional managers. Kanigong ginatawag natong mutual fund, mostly ni siya mahitabo sa mga cooperative. Diba? Kanang kabantay mo, pag naay cooperative, example lang inyo ang cooperative is grocery. So, syempre, ang capital ninyo ato is from different people. Katong, mura po ni siya ginatawag na itong susyo. Yes, that's susyo. Kanang, magtapok mo og kwarta, katong kwarta nga inyong itapok mo, ito inyong padakuon. Either inyong ipahiram, inyong kanang i-grocery, kanang ipamaligyag ka ng mga grocery items, or kung unsa pa ang inyong nahuna-hunahan. Sometimes cooperatives are like electric o kaya water. So, kadto siya, ang income ninyo ato, mo ato siya, ang katong kwarta nga inyong gikolekta ato, mo ato ginatawag nga mutual fund. Now, to ensure the efficiency in managing the money, na ay holder ang katong mutual fund. Mga to siya ang ginatawag na professional managers. So, here in the Philippines, there are a lot of mutual funds. Kumbaga, daghang mutual funds operating diri sa Philippines. These are registered in the Security and Exchange Commission or SEC. So listed below are some of them. So that is Philippine Stock Index Fund, the Multinational Group, Managed Income Fund, Phil Equity Dollar Income Fund, legacy TD fund, and Phil Equity Money Market Fund. So these are the some of the mutual funds operating here in the Philippines. Alright, so that concludes our topic for today. So again, we have discussed the 3 types of investment, that is the stocks, bonds, and the mutual fund. Alright, so please study and we will be having a quiz after this.